A former casino floor manager just revealed something that could change everything you know about slot machines. There are specific games casinos are literally designed to push you toward, and two machines they secretly hate. What you're about to hear could flip your entire strategy. Machine number 1. Wheel of Fortune, specifically the 3D and 4D versions. Former employees call this the favorite victim maker, and once you understand why, you'll never look at it the same way again. The return to player sits between 88 and 89%, which sounds almost reasonable until you factor in something casinos absolutely don't want you calculating: actual bet size. See, there's a psychological trap built into these machines that's so effective it's borderline genius. They disguise massive bet increments under the penny slot label, and players fall for it every single time. Let me tell you about Maria. Bachelorette weekend in Vegas, a group of 8 friends. Everyone's having fun. She sits down at Wheel of Fortune thinking she's being conservative, playing what looks like a quarter machine. 45 minutes later, she's down $800 and can't figure out how it happened so fast. Here's what Maria didn't realize. Those 3D and 4D versions require between 200 and 300 credits per spin for bonus eligibility. When you're betting what you think is a quarter, you're actually spending $50 to $75 per spin. Players miscalculate their cost per spin by 10 to 20 times the actual amount, and casinos are counting on exactly that confusion. The machine says penny slot, your brain registers penny slot, but the math tells a completely different story. And if casinos love Wheel of Fortune, wait until you hear about machine number 2, Buffalo Gold and Buffalo Diamond. This is what former slot technicians call the free games tease machine, and it's designed to keep you in your seat longer than almost anything else on the floor. The base return to player runs between 86 and 88%, but that bonus frequency creates this illusion of constant action. What casinos really love about Buffalo Gold is the high volatility, which translates to long, brutal losing streaks between those bonuses everyone's chasing. Marcus found this out the hard way. He was chasing the super bonus, convinced it was about to hit. One session, $4,000 gone. According to technical documentation, the regular bonus triggers once every 120 to 150 spins. The super bonus? Once every 300 spins or more. But here's where the programming gets really sneaky. The machine shows 2 gold buffaloes regularly, just enough to make you think you almost had it. That near-miss programming keeps players like Marcus feeding bills into the machine, convinced the bonus is coming on the very next spin. Casino psychology at its finest. Volume players stay longer because they genuinely believe the bonus is right around the corner. Now, these first 2 are bad, but machine number 3 is where casinos really make their money. Machine number 3, Lightning Link, all versions. Former floor managers call this the hold and spin addiction machine, and there's a reason casinos position these at the highest traffic areas they can find. Walk into any major casino, and you'll spot Lightning Link banks near the main walkways, close to restaurants, right where you can't miss them. Strategic placement isn't an accident. The return to player hovers around 86 to 87%, but the real trap isn't even the math. It's that almost triggered visual that keeps players locked in their seats for hours. Here's the technical reality. You need 6 symbols to trigger the hold and spin feature. What the game does, according to documentation from former technicians, is show you 5 symbols constantly. 5 orbs, 5 pearls, 5 gold pieces, whatever the theme happens to be. Just one short, over and over again. Robert used to work as a pit boss at a major strip property, and he admits management had a nickname for Lightning Link. They called it the retirement fund. He'd watch players sit there for entire shifts, mesmerized by how close they were getting. Most bonuses on Lightning Link pay between 10 and 25 times your bet, which sounds decent until you run the actual numbers. You've spent 100 times your bet getting to that bonus trigger. The math doesn't work in your favor, but the hold and spin animation creates this dopamine anticipation even when you're losing. Robert said players would verbalize it constantly. It's about to hit. I can feel it. It's right there. The near-miss psychology is so effective that people genuinely believe they're controlling something completely random. While Lightning Link is a casino goldmine, but machine number 4 might be even more profitable for the house. Dancing Drums and Dancing Drums Explosion, what insiders call the buy a bonus illusion machine. Base return to player sits at 87 to 88%, but then there's this feature called Foo Babies. It's a bet multiplier that players think gives them an edge. Technical reality? It drops your return to the player down to 84 or 85%. Casinos absolutely love this machine because players voluntarily increase the house edge thinking they're being smart. There was this weekend warrior, a regular player who genuinely believed buying bonuses was an intelligent strategy. He'd max out the Few Babies feature every single spin, convinced he was gaming the system. What he didn't know, what the machine certainly doesn't advertise, is that the Foo Babies feature costs 75 to 100 times your base bet and rarely pays back your investment. Internal casino data shows players using maximum Few Babies have a 15% worse return to player than someone just playing the base game. The cruel irony is that a feature designed to give you the illusion of control actually increases casino profit margins. Speaking of machines where casinos manipulate your perception, before we get to machine number 5, which cost one player everything he had, I need you to understand something. Former employees say these next machines are specifically placed near entrances and ATMs for a reason. If this information is helping you, please subscribe and comment below. Which of these machines have you lost the most on? Okay, now let's talk about the machine casinos called the Mortgage Maker. Machine number 5, Golden Rooster and Happy Lantern. The Mortgage Maker. That's what employees called it behind closed doors, and once you hear this story, you'll understand exactly why that nickname exists. The return to player ranges from 85 to 87% depending on denomination, which already puts it in dangerous territory. But the real trap comes from those Asian-themed games with hold and spin features that feel due. The cultural symbolism, the dragons and gold and prosperity imagery, it all triggers this magical thinking that overrides basic logic. James started with a $5,000 entertainment budget. Reasonable amount? Money he could afford to lose. Or so he thought. Golden Rooster's hold and spin bonus kept triggering just often enough to keep him convinced. 12 times his bet, 20 times his bet, and these small wins that felt like validation. He became convinced the grand jackpot was overdue, that the machine owed him something bigger. 3 months later, James had lost $47,000. He'd refinanced his house to keep chasing that grand progressive. Former employees who worked that property reported seeing him sleeping in his car in the parking lot afterward. The technical explanation makes it even worse. Those grand and major progressives reset to minimum values and climb incredibly slowly. The persistent minor and mini wins create false pattern recognition. Your brain starts seeing patterns that simply don't exist in random number generation. Casinos position these machines near high-limit rooms deliberately. The psychological hook goes beyond just mathematics. Those cultural symbols make players believe something mystical is happening, that luck and destiny are somehow involved in a computerized algorithm. If Golden Rooster is the mortgage maker, machine number 6 is what employees call the retirement killer. Timberwolf and Wild Wolf, the losses disguised as wins machines. Base return to player sits between 86 and 88%, but the win frequency includes losses, which sounds impossible until you understand how it actually works. Here's the technical explanation. You bet $2.50, you win back $1.75, and the machine plays full victory music. Flashing lights, celebratory sounds, the whole show. The industry has an actual term for this. Losses disguised as wins. Technical documentation shows Timberwolf has a 40 to 50% rate of these fake celebrations. Patricia learned this the hard way. Elderly woman, Social Security check, sitting at Timberwolf for 6 hours thinking she was breaking even the entire time. Victory sounds kept playing, she kept smiling, and at the end of her session she'd actually lost $1,200. Former employees admit management loved these machines specifically because players would smile while losing. The victory sounds trigger dopamine release even during net losses. Your brain registers win, chemicals release, and you keep playing despite moving in only one direction. Down. Now these 6 machines are exactly what casinos want you playing, but we're about to reveal 2 machines they absolutely hate. Machine number 7. Dragon Link, all versions. The casino profit champion. Every single exploitative feature we've discussed so far exists in this one machine, refined and amplified. The return to player sits between 85 and 86%, among the absolute lowest for penny slots anywhere on any casino floor. Former revenue managers admit Dragon Link generates 3 to 4 times the revenue per square foot compared to the average slot machine. And when you understand why, it becomes almost difficult to watch people play it. Dragon Link combines the hold and spin addiction from Lightning Link with near-miss programming that borders on psychological warfare. Progressive jackpots display amounts that seem achievable, grand totals hovering around $50,000 or $60,000, and high bet requirements ensure you're burning through money at maximum speed. Jennifer's story represents the darkest side of what these machines can do. Life insurance payout after her husband's death, $85,000 meant for her daughter's college fund. She sat down at Dragon Link because that grand progressive showed $52,000, and something about that number seemed reachable, seemed fair somehow given what she'd just lost. 4 months later, $67,000 were gone. Former employees from that property reported feeling physically sick watching her play, day after day, chasing a jackpot that hits approximately once every 1.2 to 1.5 million spins. Technical documentation confirms what Jennifer never knew. She was statistically never going to hit that grand. But the casino created what employees called the perfect storm. Every psychological trigger engineered into one machine. They positioned Dragon Link in banks of 12 to 20 machines, always visible from the main entrance. Volume data shows it outperforms everything else, and casinos order more Dragon Link units than any other machine in their inventory. Management called it the dream crusher behind closed doors, and employees who tried to warn players risked their jobs for showing basic human decency. So those are the 7 machines casinos absolutely love. But here's machine number 8, and then the 2 machines casinos wish didn't exist. Huff and More Puff represents something potentially more dangerous than any individual machine. The industry trend toward worse and worse player odds. Base return to players sits between 84 and 86%, shockingly low even by modern standards. What makes this significant is that manufacturers know they can launch new machines with returns this terrible if the graphics look good enough. Mystery progressive features trigger so rarely that weekend players might never see them. There was a player who expected new meant better odds, a standard assumption that seems reasonable until you check the actual mathematics. 3 hours, $2,800 gone. The bonus triggered exactly once, and paid 18 times his bet, and he would have needed that bonus to pay 200 times just to break even on his session. Former slot technicians reveal manufacturers are testing exactly how low they can push returns before players notice. Industry analysis shows average slot return to player dropped from 91% in the 1990s to 87% now. Future machines will be worse unless players start demanding transparency. Now, let me tell you about the 2 machines casinos absolutely do not want you to find. According to multiple former floor managers, there are 2 machines that consistently lose money for casinos. They're not removed because manufacturers contract for floor space, but management positions them in terrible locations, back corners where foot traffic barely exists. When employees were asked off the record which machines they'd play with their own money, these 2 came up repeatedly. Here's what makes them different from everything else we've discussed. Machine number 9. Ultimate X Poker. Video poker machines represent actual skill-based gambling, and casinos hate that with a passion. The return to player can reach 99.2 to 99.8% with perfect strategy, which means the house edge drops to almost nothing. The multiplier feature carries over to the next hand, creating what advantage players call vulture opportunities. Previous players leave multipliers on machines, walk away, and informed players can sit down at a game with built-in positive expectation. A former floor supervisor admitted managers were explicitly told to discourage players from these machines. Stand near them, ask if players need anything, create subtle pressure to move. Casino countermeasures reveal exactly how much they hate Ultimate X, positioned in low-traffic corners, always. A limited number of machines per property, usually 2 to 4 maximum. Lower denomination options were removed entirely, forcing higher minimum bets that scare away casual players. Players Club bonus multipliers, the kind casinos advertise everywhere else, don't apply to video poker. David makes $30,000 to $40,000 yearly finding abandoned multipliers and playing optimal strategy. He's been banned from 3 casinos for advantage play, despite never breaking a single rule. He just played smart, understood mathematics, and casinos couldn't tolerate someone actually winning consistently. Technical explanation confirms why Ultimate X exists at all. IGT has contractual obligations with properties, and those contracts include video poker minimums. The catch is that beating these machines requires strategy knowledge most players don't possess. 9-6 jacks or better with multipliers creates positive player expectation, but only if you know the correct holding strategy for every possible hand. Ultimate X requires skill, but machine number 10 is even simpler and casinos hate it just as much. Machine number 10, Quick Hits Platinum, specifically the Triple Blazing Sevens version. The honest slot machine, if such a thing can exist in a casino environment. Return to player sits between 94 and 96%, exceptionally high for slots, and the low volatility means frequent small pays that maintain your bankroll instead of draining it in minutes. Former managers testified they had to keep quick hits because the machines are popular with regulars, but they hated the hold percentage. Every dollar quick hits holds is a dollar not coming from Dragon Link or Buffalo Gold. Casino countermeasures tell you everything. Placed far from entrances, no promotional signage, never included in free play promotions. There's a retired couple who plays exclusively quick hits and tracks their results meticulously. 2 years of data shows they're down $3,400 against a $50,000 entertainment budget. They actually get to play all day, multiple sessions per week, because the mathematics allow extended play. If every casino patron played quick hits instead of Dragon Link, industry estimates suggest slot revenue would drop 40 to 50% overnight. Mathematical reality still favors the house, but this represents the smallest advantage available on any slot floor. And casinos profit primarily from players not knowing machines like this exist. So now you know the truth. Those 8 machines, Wheel of Fortune, Buffalo Gold, Lightning Link, Dancing Drums, Golden Rooster, Timberwolf, Dragon Link, and Huff and More Puff, represent everything casinos want you playing. Low returns to player, psychological manipulation, as near-miss programming, and losses disguised as wins. Former employees estimate these 8 machines alone generate 60 to 70% of total slot floor revenue. And the 2 machines casinos hate? Ultimate X Poker and Quick Hits Platinum give you the best mathematical chance, which is exactly why they're hidden in corners and never promoted. The pattern is clear once you see it. Casinos architect their floors to push you toward the worst games and hide the best ones. Walk through any property now, and you'll notice Dragon Link banks positioned at main entrances while Quick Hits sits near the back restrooms. That placement isn't random. Every square foot is calculated for maximum extraction. But here's what former employees really want you to understand. Even the good machines still favor the house. But the industry has spent billions on psychological research to exploit human vulnerabilities. Every sound, every animation, every near miss is programmed to keep you playing longer. The house always wins mathematically. That's how casinos afford billion-dollar buildings with marble floors and crystal chandeliers. The real insider secret isn't about finding the best machine. It's understanding that all machines are designed to take your money, just at different speeds. The smartest play, set strict limits, treat it as entertainment cost, and never chase losses, regardless of which machine you choose. Former floor managers who've seen everything admit they never play slots with their own money. They've watched too many people lose cars, houses, college funds. They know what these machines actually do to people over time. If this insider information opened your eyes, please subscribe to this channel. Former casino employees are sharing more secrets that could change how you approach gambling. And here's my question for you. Have you played any of these 8 machines? Did you recognize the psychological tactics while playing, or does it only make sense now? Drop a comment below. I read every single one. Also, let me know. Would you try those two machines casinos hate? Or does knowing the house always wins change your approach entirely? Your stories help other viewers, so please share. Remember, knowledge is your only real advantage in a casino. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we expose even more industry secrets.